Hello everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. We're outside Stamford Bridge after a 2-2 draw against Ipswich in the Premier League. Nina, I know you're not feeling great. I don't think this game really helps with anyone's, forget mental health, physical health. I felt absolutely drained during that match and I feel so tired after it as well.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Yeah, disappointing result, very disappointing result, and frankly it's just not good enough. We're at a point in the season now where wider context matters. We've got Champions League football to secure, for God's sake, apparently, and is that how we're going to try and do it? It's not good enough. These are the games that we looked at in December thinking, oh yeah, when we could have gone second, we could have gone on that great run, beaten Ipswich, beaten Fulham, and then we just didn't do it, and it seemed to just get worse and worse. But yeah, it's hard not to feel deflated after a result in a game like that, because we easily could have had the game in a good controlled position, being maybe 2-0 up by minute 20. We created so many chances and we actually looked good, but I'd say it was a mixture of good saves from their Palmer and also just our lack of precision in terms of clinical finishing. And then how many times have we seen that, Alex, where we dominate and then they get a chance and they score it? It just falls down to this one chance, and that
the
really
momentum
shifted
was with us, wasn't it?
And then it shifted after that goal, didn't it? Because we could really feel the pressure, and now I thought, oh goodness, forget all the liveliness in the box. We're now going to go back to our side-to-side football and not even try and attempt any play through the middle, and that's exactly what happened, right? And then Ipswich just used that as an element to keep going, to get another goal. And there you go.
How do you describe the goals that they scored from our standpoint?
I thought for the first goal, Cucurella and Colwill share the blame for that. I mean, it wasn't good. And I could see Cucurella, he was just wondering who to mark, and it was because Levi Colwill let go of his man. So then he was just kind of confused with who to go with, and he ended up not going with anyone. And he was beaten so easily, and then, there you go. And then with the second one, I can't even remember the second one right now. It's just so deflating. But I went back to last season. Do you know what I mean? With that kind of feeling of how do we turn it back around?
I think the second one was a header, wasn't it? That was Cucurella's man as well.
Yeah. So there you go. It's not great. And then you're just sat there thinking, really? Ipswich 2-0 up at home. They definitely came to Stamford Bridge saying, oh, thanks Chelsea for giving the self-esteem of getting our first home win this season, and maybe we could have a crack today. We've got 1 point out of possible six against Ipswich, Alex, this season. That's really not good. Everyone has had such a good go playing Ipswich this season except us. Why is it that they came here and troubled us so much today? And then I felt really deflected at half-time. I said we'd be lucky to get a draw today, actually. I didn't really think, I had fans behind me saying, we could do 45 minutes is enough for 3 goals, and I just thought to myself, even if we're good enough to get those 3 goals, why are we even in this position in the first place? Do you know what I mean? At home, with so few games left to go to till the end of the season, and it just didn't make sense. And when you look at the lineup, it's pretty much the strongest we could have gotten, except I would have preferred to have an actual right-back maybe on the pitch to start with when you had 3 on the bench there to choose from. So that was a bit questionable. That was the first substitution he made, changed obviously the right back, but then again, the substitutions today, Alex, they didn't really make sense either. I just thought they were a little bit too all over the place. Fair enough, Sancho, great substitution in hindsight, obviously, but with Nkunku coming on for Jackson, I know that Jackson was having a hard time today, but one opportunity that could have fallen to him there at the end in those minutes where we were again seeing more of the ball, you just never know. And Nkunku, is he really a player that's going to come on and motivate you to a win? Not anymore. No. He's not a player that is interested in staying here. He's not a player that, frankly, has been told he's part of the plan. So, first offer comes in for him, he's gone. So that didn't really make sense to me. But Cucurella again, this man, you've got all the forwards and the wingers and the expensive signings in the world, and you've got Cucurella that comes back to score goals. I think it's both fantastic and also disappointing for the other players. So fair play to him, but that really shifted things as well because the fans actually got behind the players. It makes a difference when you score first, from the get-go, from the restart. And then, of course, that second goal. I guess that's probably the biggest positive you can take. Sancho's goal today, because that was absolutely brilliant. And you know what, Alex? Let's talk about Maresca, because again, that was individual brilliance rescuing the point today. Not Maresca's setups, not his his substitution, if you want to say that. But how many times a season we said that Sancho just doesn't? He won't shoot. He'll keep the ball. That goal is reinforcement that players, they will take it upon themselves to have a shot and they might score. But Enzo Maresca's style of play, he wants us to keep the ball okay and then walk it into the back of the net.
Do you know what he said in the press conference before the game?
What?
He said that players need to take more shots outside the box.
They do.
He did say that.
Okay.
But then my thought process was, if that's your only, like, that's the only change you're going to make to this team, like, that doesn't really sound, like, that doesn't inspire me from a tactical point of view. Like, I'm not saying you have to sit here and get the whiteboard out and all the rest of it, but he's just saying take more shots outside the box. Teams can manage that. And we got the goal today with Sancho. It was a cracking goal. But, yeah, I'm with you on that.
But he's ingrained it too much in them, Alex, to keep possession, right? Like, look at us. We are so afraid of losing the ball because we get exposed in the counter. And you can see that clearly is the game plan because we're so unbalanced on counter-attack. Look how easy it was for Ipswich to absolutely turn us over when they did. And so many teams again this season. So that's almost like, when they beat us 2-0, Alex, we had 76 possession in that game. So you got to make it count, Enzo. Like, what is it we're doing here? Because, again, this kind of side-to-side, too much passing. We don't score goals from the tippy-tappy football we're trying to play. We score goals when players take it upon themselves to have a go, have a shot, like Sancho did today, like, Neto was trying to do last game. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit deflating. I don't even have a chronological order of the game in my head right now, but if I'm looking at that result today, very disappointing. That's a shameful result today. At this point in the season, with the games you have left, with the priorities you have, that's not good enough. We're just about hanging in there. We're fifth, I think, level on points with Villa or Newcastle. City obviously just above us, and what confidence do I have going into the tougher games that we can get something? And Alex, let me tell you something even scarier. Okay, we get Champions League football. And when we get there, then what? Because it's what Enzo Maresca is implementing here at Chelsea and what's going on here, filling you with confidence that we can go and be competitive in Europe, in the Champions League. Specifically, I guess, fans will say we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but that's a
We've got to cross the bridge first.
We've got to cross the bridge first. We've got to actually, come out the river. But yeah, very disappointed today.
I mean, me personally, I would have been so much more angry if we'd have lost the game, but yeah, that's the positive side of me thing. But my head is then telling me, Alex, what, you're going to celebrate a point against Ipswich? Is that the standard now?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's been this huge divide within Chelsea fans about the manager. I am very much on one side. I think he's pretty rubbish, to be honest with you. I've said that since Brighton. I was frustrated at Man City when he was kept playing Robert Sanchez. And I think that the issues and the reasons that you can use to describe why this manager is making you unhappy as a fan, you could write quite a long list. But what do you say to those fans who might want to stick with Maresca? Because there are fans out there. I don't see many today. I think a lot of the match-going fans, probably more on my side, but a lot of the fans that are watching from home seem to be a little bit more patient than we are. I mean, what do you say to them?
You know what? You know me, we've been here talking about managers in the last couple of years. I've always decided to stick it out with a manager more because I think at some point we have to go away from the sacking and changing. But frankly, the choices that have been made with managers in these last few years, they don't fill you with confidence. And I agree with you. It does seem like Maresca tactically is out of his depth or he's out of ideas. And I just think that we've become quite predictable in terms of setting up against us and exposing our weaknesses. Like, a lot of teams now know how Chelsea plays. They now know what to do. They now know how to shut out the wingers from the game. They now know how to nullify Cole Palmer most of the time. So there's a lot of things that we're looking to Maresca to change and to switch, and I don't know, it's quite tough, Alex, because it's like, how much better can this manager get, or how much more can he upgrade this team, or how much better can his system get, or what changes is he going to make? It's quite difficult to see that, it's quite hard to get behind it. I'd say get behind from just the possible longevity in terms of a little bit of, I don't know, like, what's the word?
In terms of keeping him, stability.
Stability, yeah. But from a managerial standpoint, I'm not sure I trust him.
Okay, and I mean, looking at the way we finished last season, it was obviously a good finish. We made some tweaks. What
Yeah.
tweaks can Maresca make to finish off the season better than we've been going so far?
Well, for starters, pick your right back and play him. If you want to give Achampong minutes, give him minutes. If you want to play Gusto, play him, not as a left back, as a right back. You know, Reece James, okay, I understand that we're taking care of him till the end, but, you know, do that. And if you want your players to shoot from outside the box, then give them that license to do it, because why don't we see more of it? If he's, you know, they're clearly listening to his instructions. If that's what he's saying, then why aren't they doing more of it?
I felt like they were today, though.
Today they were, yeah, absolutely. And you could see in the last kind of minutes of the game, I mean, Palmer had some fantastic saves. It was actually quite frustrating to see how many good saves he made in those last kind of minutes, because we could have nicked it in the end, and even still we'd be sat here talking about the problems we had because it never should have gotten to that position. But you know, I just think that he needs to try something different. It's not up to me to work it out, you work it out, you know. But frankly, now I'm seeing the same thing game in, game out, where it's like the last few games have been quite boring, haven't we? Become quite dull to watch, and frankly on paper we have the players that are exciting enough and should be exciting enough to watch them thrive in this team, because they were doing it at the start of the season. And again, we keep going back to the point, is it just coincidence that when we hadn't adapted to Maresca's style yet, we look better than we do now?
Predictions going into the rest of the season?
Is it Fulham next?
Yes.
Fulham next. Fulham's a tough game. I actually would have preferred us to get a win today. I thought that because we might get a draw against Fulham. But actually looking at this game today, I don't know. I think maybe we could win, but you know, we saw that they did to Liverpool. I don't know, Alex. I'm not confident with any game remaining.
God, telling me. I've felt this way for a few now. But do you think we should still get Champions League football?
I'm not too sure. With every game,
Europa League?
Yeah, Europa League, yeah, but Champions League football, we've just proven that we're not even good enough to get into it in the first place. Like, how many points other teams have dropped, how many doors we've had open, mistakes we've made, and we've still had leeway to get into it, and yet we've just decided to throw it away every single time when we have an opportunity to extend a gap or solidify something. So it's like, Alex, it doesn't look sustainable to continue this way to the end of the season and just expect that you'll get it. So we have to go on a bit of a run here. We need a little bit of momentum. It's not good enough. Brentford, you know, you saw obviously the Leicester, the Southampton results now a couple months ago. The performances weren't great. It's not been great. You know, can we still go up and down and up and down and up and down with these results and expect Champions League football? Or are we still going to just prey on other teams' downfall? Because that's what it looks like we have to do right now.
We'll see what happens, Nina.
Yeah. Oh.